Designed in New York, crafted in Switzerland. This is Stella, an independent watch brand that may not have big Super Bowl commercials or even celebrity ambassadors, but what they do have is authenticity. Earlier this year, I flew out to Charlotte, North Carolina to cover the Intercept Watch Show, and before heading out, I decided to do some research on some of the brands that would be presenting there. 2 seconds on the Stella website, and I knew this was one of the brands that I absolutely had to see in person. It was at this show that I got hands-on with Stella for the first time and was super impressed. A few weeks later, I flew out to Texas to cover the Wind Up Watch Fair, and I had a second chance to get hands-on with Stella and again hear from co-founder Steve Raleigh.
Hey James, it's Steve at Stella Watch Company. We're here in Dallas. We're a New York-based brand. We launched in March of 2020, so it's our 5-year anniversary. For our 5-year anniversary, we did a relaunch of our original Felix in a dark wash denim and a faded denim. It has our original case with our custom rotor and exhibition case back. Uses the STP 1-21 movement. Moving over to our Ellis GMT. It's named the Ellis, and it's an homage to the Statue of Liberty, Ellis Island. Uses the Sellita SW330 movement. Moving to our Breslin three-hand in raspberry, blue, and silver. Etched case back with nice skyline of New York. Uses the Sellita SW200 movement. Our newer releases in the new 2 colorways in the Breslin in Liberty Mint and Indigo Purple. All of our watches are sapphire crystal, stainless steel, Swiss made. Thanks for seeing us.
Thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
You bet it.
Today we are taking a closer look at Stella as I have on hand the Ellis GMT with the black dial, the Felix II with the ice blue dial, and 2 versions of the Breslin, one Liberty Mint dial and one with a silver dial that is on bracelet. Starting off with the Ellis GMT, the model that draws inspiration from the famous Ellis Island. Once the busiest immigrant processing station in the entire United States and a symbol of hope and new beginnings. Powered by the Sellita SW330, which is based off the ETA 2892, the SW330 is a tried and true 24-hour GMT Swiss movement boasting 25 joules, hacking seconds, and a power reserve of 42 hours. I can't help but think co-founder and designer Marcela Dolan was inspired to go with a GMT when thinking of Ellis Island and the ones that started their American journey there while having to leave so many loved ones behind in another time zone. Coming in at 41.5 millimeter, the Ellis GMT is the largest of the Stella lineup, but in my opinion, case size is not nearly as important as the lug-to-lug distance, and in this case, it is 49.5 millimeter, which is pretty standard for a 41 to 42 millimeter watch, but due to the downturn lug design, in my opinion, this watch is extremely wearable. Here is a shot of it on my 7.5-inch wrist, and here is a shot on my brother who has a 6.5-inch wrist. The case is a 4-part design, and while at first I could not reconcile that in my mind, after taking a look at the exploded version on Stella's website, I get it. And I will say this, the case is beautifully brushed with just a kiss of high polish in the right spots. Flip it on its side and the turn down lugs wrap a black PVD that takes the design to a whole new level. Just take a look at this dial, those indices and hour markers, the handset. Flip it over, and if you weren't fully convinced of where the inspiration for this watch came from, you are now. As you will see, an etched case back featuring Ellis Island and the Statue of Liberty, along with the phrase from her bronze plaque, written by poet Emma Lazarus. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses, yearning to breathe free. Now that is powerful, and as I'm thinking about it, I think Stella should probably release a version of this watch in bronze, or at least with a bronze dial. Either way, I would say that if New York were a watch, it is highly likely that this is the watch New York would be. I just want to pause for a second and say thank you so much for watching. I hope you are enjoying the content, and if you are, please consider helping me build the channel by subscribing. So now that I have properly introduced you to Stella the brand, let me introduce you to the co-founder and designer, Marcela Dolan.
Hi, I'm Marcela Dolan, and I'm the co-founder of Stella Watches. I've been designing watches for over 20 years. I'm fortunate in that I've been able to build a career doing something that I really love. I think there's something very charming about a watch, from the beautiful curve of the lugs to a very stylized dial and hands, to a brightly polished stainless steel case set against a warm, luxurious strap. And of course, that beautifully soft, sweeping second hand counting down to the next anticipated moment in time, all built perfectly in sync to encase and protect the inner heartbeat. Being from New York, you can't help but develop this certain energy. There's this positive vibe in New York that each new day is going to be better than the next, so let's get out and meet it. Stella is designed in New York and I believe captures a lot of that vibrancy and energy. The colors are very much inspired by New York, from Gotham Gold, Times Gray, to Downtown Red for that beautiful oxblood brick that literally built New York. The logo design is even a nod to the street art culture that's very vibrant in our city. But mostly, I feel like Stella captures that essence of New York in that it is a very stylish watch, but with a really cool vibe. It both wants to be noticed and then doesn't all at the same time.
One common theme with all of Stella's lineup are the details. And all I can say is if the devil is in the details, these watches are in need of an exorcism. The dials are the first thing that stand out. And in fact, they stand out so much that it takes a minute to absorb what else is going on with these watches. The detail just keeps coming. Take a look at the high polish on the hands and the indices. Look closely and you will see the same high polish beveled inward on the date window. The crown is a screw-down crown with an aluminum accent ring and is signed with an enamel-filled star. This is something that repeats itself over and over. Point your eyes towards the bottom center of the dial and you will see a high-polished embossed star. There's a star on each side of the buckle, as mentioned, one on the crown, on the etched case back. There's even a star stamped into the strap. And if you are wondering where Stella got the idea to use a star as part of their identity, it's in the name. The Latin word for star is Stella. And speaking of the straps, these straps are really nice. They're thick and meaty, while at the same time they are soft and pliable. I'm not a big strap person because I think for the most part they make a watch look too dressy, but in this case, these watches look like they were just born to live on a strap. And in fact, I do have one on bracelet, and I think I prefer this watch on a strap. I will say I do think one thing that is going to be polarizing is the fact that the end links are not fitted. My son James does not like the fact that they're not fitted. I personally like it, as I feel like it gives the watch a little bit of a vintage vibe. Case in point, this is my 1967 Omega Chronostop with the original Challenger bracelet, not fitted. And here is one of Omega's newest Seamaster 300 releases, not fitted. I think this is just a preference thing, but for those wanting to know, the bracelet feels solid. It is both brushed and high polished and comes with a butterfly clasp. I will say one thing, it adds a ton of weight to the watch. Taking a look at the Breslin and the Felix II, essentially for the most part, these are the same watch. Both are 40 millimeters with a lug-to-lug of 48 millimeter. Both come with a really cool denim style dial and share all the same details. The differences, from what I can tell, are the case thickness, with the Felix II coming in at 13.6 millimeter and the Breslin coming in almost a full millimeter thinner at 12.7 millimeter. The Breslin is powered by the Sellita SW200 and has an etched case back, but the Felix steps it up a notch by offering an elbow movement with better finishes, including heated blue screws and a custom black PVD plated Stella rotor. Being that Stella is a microbrand and doesn't have the buying power of the big conglomerates, When they decided to customize, they had to go elsewhere, so they chose Swiss Technology Productions to produce the movement for the Felix II. Essentially, both the SW200 and the STP1-21 are the same movement, as both are based off the ETA 2824, but with the Felix being an Elabor grade, it does mean that the watch has been adjusted in at least 3 positions and will run a little more precise. I always take the time to do a bit of research when covering a watch brand because I want to know what the brand is about and I want to know what people are saying about the brand. And for Stella, there was a few things that popped up a few times, and that was that the people really liked the design, but they felt the price was just a little bit too high. My thoughts on that are this. Stella's price range is in that $1,000 to $1,300 price range. And while I fully realize that is a lot of money, and for some people, it is more money than they will ever spend on a watch. With that said, I have had a lot of microbrands in my hands lately, and for most of them, Stella is more than competitive on the price and is producing a better watch, in my opinion. So I guess I would say,
you want quality, you got to pay for that.
Okay, so maybe that wasn't the best clip to play, but look. Luxury is about 2 things. It is about quality and the perception of quality. There is a reason Tiffany & Co. can sell a sterling silver ring for 10x what a similar ring of the same quality would go for by a much lesser known brand. And that reason is the perception. In the watch world, most of the perception is based on the brand's history. That is why they tout it so hard. You have Rolex, founded in 1905. Breitling, founded in 1884. Longines, founded in 1832. This is the single greatest hurdle, in my opinion, for a microbrand. They simply don't have the history. At the same time, for a real watch enthusiast, this may be something that makes them special. Being able to personally speak with the creator and see their passion, hear their story. You can go buy a Rolex, but you will never have a connection to Hans Wilsdorf. So this brings to question, who exactly is the customer for Stella watches? If you are someone that wants something special that isn't just another run-of-the-mill, and you're okay with a piece leaving you open to a conversation as any real watch enthusiast is, and you can get past the fact that it is a micro brand without a massive history, then I believe that it is possible that you are the customer for Stella. If you would like to check out Stella watches, I will leave a link in the description. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please consider subscribing and hitting that like button while you're at it. Thank you for watching. I'm James, this is Blue Collar Luxe, and I will see you in the next one.